Good morning. Welcome to this week's Get Hooked on Strategy with me, LT. And this is the weekly check-in where we are getting hooked on strategy and turning our strategy into a habit instead of a chore. And I want to do this in 5 minutes or less if possible. I'm usually maybe around 6 minutes, so I'm going to start my timer. Keep me at least somewhat on track. And today is my birthday, woohoo! But I'm still here getting committed to my strategy. So last week we talked about priority matrix and how we take those projects and rank them and then turn them into our action plans and upcoming projects. Well, the activity for last week was just a review. So we wanted to look at what are the projects that we had in motion? Where are we with our action plans? Are there any that we need to stop, start, or continue? And maybe put on hold. And so I've done that. I went ahead and looked at all of my projects and crossed them off, deleted a few. There's always the chance that something you started 6 months ago is not something you feel like continuing now because maybe you learned something new, and that might be included in your lessons learned. So this week I made a few updates to the priority matrix. So if you have already downloaded that, you may want to look at it again. I added SWOT into my template because they're tied together. So the things that you put in the SWOT are then an input into your, I'm doing it again. Let me go into screen share. So, okay, so now we're going to look at, so again, on our calendar, we did last week a review of the priority matrix and our action plans. So that's just to say, hey, this is where we are, this is what we're doing this week. And this is, this is the funnest, most fun part for me, is to look at all my projects, see what I've done, cross off, and start new things. This is so exciting. And so it's all tied into this one spreadsheet for me, which is then linked into the tracking sheet for the strategic plan, but I can find it here because I want to keep all this kind of tight knit together. But the first page is instructions. It's very straightforward. And the inputs, so the inputs that you're putting into the list for your potential projects are coming from your SWOT, which is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats sheet. An exercise, your to-do list. So you should be keeping a to-do list. Some people tell you to throw out your to-do list. I think a to-do list that is well managed is super important. Different survey results that you might have, known issues that you know of that come from anywhere. If you've done the strategic workbook, that is a walkthrough that takes you from, that I've developed, that takes you from who you are and your business framework all the way up into goals and tactics. It's a great exercise to help you figure out what should be on your upcoming list. Lessons learned from projects that you have completed and worked on, and events, and then your comps and bennies, which again is your competition, if you call it that, your comparisons, things that you've learned from them that you want to incorporate into what you're doing. And so the next page then is the SWOT. And I do my SWOT, you'll usually see this into 4 boxes. I don't think that opportunities fits with the other 3. So what I feel is that the opportunities are where we leverage our strengths, weaknesses, and threats, or leverage or overcome. So on the right-hand side or left-hand side, I have you list your strengths, your weaknesses, and these are both ones that are real and perceived. So ones that you identify, and then ones that others may place on you, and then your threats, and then opportunities then are, so if my strength is follow through, then I have an opportunity to continue to build on that. And that might be a project that I add to my potential list. If my weakness is some sort of expertise that I don't feel confident in, then my opportunity is to get training for that. So you see how this works? And a threat may be, I feel that I might run out of funds by a certain date to continue a project or even a business line. And so the opportunity is, how can you counter that? And those things then go into your potential project list. And over here, you can see examples from where they come from. And then you just simply put in, based on these 3 things, a ranking, and this final column scores them for you. And then you copy them, pop them over into here, and then rank them. And then you can determine if you're going to work on the top 3, if you're going to work on the top 6, or if you're going to go by a certain ranking number that you have there, and then fill in the rest of the details with what your next steps might be, if you're going to create an action plan or if you're going to add it to your to-do list, when you're going to do it. And then you have room for notes. And this will be for what you use for the next 3 or 4 months, however often you've put this on your plan. For me, I could review it quarterly, and then I'm going to come back and fill in some notes and a status. It may be completed if it's crossed off. Awesome. If I just decide to do only the first 9 things, let's say, or let's say I'm going to go up to 80. So I'm going to cut it off there. And so I literally put a line in. All right, cut it off. Oops, actually it should go on the bottom, not the top. I'm putting a line in right here. That's the last one I'm going to do. Let's make it bold so I can see it. So I'm going to work on these top 3, 4, 5 things. And so if in my next quarterly review, if I've done all of these, maybe I want to go ahead and pick up the next 4. And you can decide if you want to just go down the list, or if in the next quarter you want to go through the whole exercise again and re-rank them, because things change. It just depends on how much time you have, but it's all about being flexible and doing what works for you. And then the final thing, any of the ones that you've put into action plans, you're going to use this. And I'm over my 5 minutes, so we'll talk about that next week, because I believe we still have time on our calendar. It'll run into this month's risk review, but that is okay. And so the homework this week is to do a complete filling out of the SWOT and priority matrix and come up with your next action plans. And we'll talk about that again next week. And that's right where I am. So you all have a wonderful week and happy strategic planning. I do have a new thing I'm offering for anyone who watches my videos. You can, oh, let's see, that didn't work. Oh, just one second. This is new to me. Adding an offer on here for a free, not free, $97. That's a huge discount for a 1-hour strategy session where we look at everything that you're doing, all the templates that you're using, and I will help you improve. So anyhow, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Monday.